Hello everybody, I thought I'd give you a little astro update. Now, first things first, happy 2026. It's taken me a little while to post this because I've been really contemplating and thinking deeply about the astrology of 2026, and some of it is slightly disconcerting. You only have to look at the news to see that we are living in crazy times, and more on that in a moment. First things first, I would like to say that since 2023, we have been under the influence of Pisces, and in Chinese astrology, we have been in the year of the snake, and the snake is indicative of water also, because the snake in astrology, in Western astrology, is the symbol for Scorpio, and Scorpio is also a water sign, and the snake and Scorpio are indicative of transformation, change, birth, death, transformation and change. Now, Saturn moved into Pisces in 2023, and we have been under that influence since then, which is now you see it, now you don't. It's been quite challenging, especially for Pisces and for Virgos, as Virgo is the opposite sign of Pisces. And for those who have Saturn in the sign of Pisces, it affects everyone with Pisces in their chart somewhere, and each and every person has Pisces in their chart somewhere. So it's really good for you to find out where Pisces is impacting you in your own natal chart, be that by the house or by a planet that the sign is in. So Saturn is sometimes a restrictive energy, and it sort of restricts the sign that it's in a way for you to learn great major lessons and to build upon those lessons to bring to fruition your dreams and manifestations after Saturn has left. So it's a key time, it's a karmic time. Saturn also represents the shadow. Now, Pisces gone right is about dreams and imagination, manifestation, the artist, if you like, the musicians, all those people that actualize the intangible fall under the realm of Pisces. Now, that's absolutely the magical side of Pisces. Pisces energy gone wrong, and I'm not talking about any individual here, I'm talking about the collective energy. It's much bigger than one individual person. Pisces energy gone wrong is deceitful, slippery, non-committal, but the main sort of premise is just deceit. Now, this moves away in February, and this is great because it moves into the sign of Aries. So it's going to be quite a time of reckoning for Aries. When Saturn was in my own sign, I had an operation on my foot, couldn't walk for 4.5 months. As an Aquarius, being restricted and not having my freedom was one of the worst things that ever happened to me. That's slight exaggeration. As Aquarius, I'm prone to exaggerate also. I lost my father. So, you know, Saturn represents the father in many ways. So I'm not please don't think I'm saying if you're an Aries or you've got lots of Aries planets in your sign that these really harsh things are going to happen to you. What I'm saying is that Saturn is a time of reckoning. Now, on a collective level, so let me go back to the gone right. On a gone right element, which is really important for us to focus on. I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy here, but I have to keep it real. On a gone right level, now Saturn being in the sign of Aries, and also Neptune being in the sign of Aries. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, and Aries is all about dynamism. It's about action. It's about getting things done. Whereas Pisces is more sort of, oh, let's have a dream. We'll think about it. Maybe it will happen. Maybe it won't. But sometimes the dream is enough. Whereas Aries is like, a dream is not enough. We have to actualize this and make stuff happen, which is absolutely fantastic. It's going to be an action-packed year, that's for sure, and an adventurous year. Now, the other side of this, which is the reason why I've held back posting, I've been watching astrologers that I really respect, like Steve Judd, talking about 2026, and he was saying, oh, you know, the astrologers that are talking about war, they need to, you know, check themselves and etc., etc. I am one of those astrologers who is talking about war, because all of this stuff in the sign of Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the god of war. And you only have to look at the news at what happened yesterday in Venezuela and things that are going on everywhere else around the world to know that we are living in really precarious times. And the one thing I will say of how we can counteract this is with intelligence. Our intelligence is going to get us through this, and the people that are in power, that are misusing their power, we have to use intelligence to overcome them. I'm not talking about what happened in Venezuela where they were overthrown and stuff like that. I'm saying use your smarts rather than brute force and action. We have to. It's really important. Now, if we come together, because there's so many planets in the sign of Aquarius at the moment, we have Pluto, and Pluto is a real power broker in the zodiac. In the sign of Aquarius, Aquarius is about revolution, it's about change, it's about technology, it's also about the people and people power. So if we come together and stop arguing about the things that they keep trying, the people in power who are misusing their power are trying to make us argue over, you know, the most vulnerable people in the world, they're asking us to hate them. We shouldn't be hating anybody. Hate is such a negative energy. It really is. There's no point hating anyone. What we need to do is to come together and work together to find solutions to outsmart these dictators. I want to talk to you about a planet I've been obsessed with since 2019. I gave a talk. I mentioned this in one of my other videos. I gave a talk, and in this talk, it was at a sketch in London. There were about several hundred people there, and I was talking about the planet Uranus moving into the sign of Taurus, and I was saying that we haven't seen this astrological alignment since the rise of fascism. And this planet has been in the sign of Taurus, and we've seen it all over the world. If you are a Trump supporter, MAGA, I would suggest that you stop watching this. I have ultimate compassion for you, because the karma that this organization is generating is dreadful. And if you did vote for this power to come to be and to come to pass, it's really, please get out of it now, because it's really the opposite of intelligence. It's ignorance, and it's not getting any better. I don't care. I love America. I love my friends over there. The smart ones have actually already left. They hop skipped out of that country as soon as he was elected, pretty much. They put things in place to do that. I know also that I won't be stepping foot in America until the regime has changed. And that's something that makes me really sad, because I have friends that are like family to me over there. And yeah, it's very sad. Let me continue with Uranus. So Uranus is basically moved into the sign of Taurus. This was in 2019, and I know that the rise in fascism began before that, but it's a cycle. And the rise in fascism that began before World War II, we were seeing astrology that was a similar sort of the patterns were very similar to back then. Now the thing about this is also something that I've noticed, because I am a thinky type, and I don't always get everything right, but this is the reason why it's taken me a hot minute to post anything about this 2026 astrology, because I always have to keep it real and tell you guys what I think. And I also do my homework and study patterns also, and the astrology. Now, Uranus moved into the sign of Gemini. Trump, he has Uranus in Gemini in his chart. And Uranus is the great awakener. It can also trigger insanity. And Uranus in the sign of Gemini, it moved in momentarily in July 2025 and hit his Uranus. So this was like Epstein. And so unpacking Uranus in Gemini, if we look at the astrological dates, Uranus moved into the sign of Gemini in July 2025. It's remained in the sign of Gemini, it retrograded, but it moved back into the sign of Taurus in November 2025, but not before the events of July basically ultimately led to the passage of the Epstein Files Transparency Act in November 2025. Do you see how all of these patterns connect? Now, it retrograded in September 2025 back into the sign of Taurus. I know it retrograded and stayed in Gemini, but it was retrograde, which gives a different vibrational energy. It slows things down, a retrograde, yeah? And then in November 2025, it moved back into the sign of Taurus, where it is now. Now, the good news is, this is really good news as far as I'm concerned, Uranus moves back into the sign of Gemini, and Gemini is the sign of intelligence. When Uranus moved into Gemini, it indicated the end of World War II, and we won that through intelligence, through resistance, peaceful resistance. Not always peaceful during World War II, but, you know, I'm saying resistance, using our minds, using our smarts, using intelligence, using the law, using legalities, all of these Geminian traits, yeah? So it moves back into that sign in April 2026, and we have to do everything we can. Please share this. I'm not so concerned about the amount of likes I get. That doesn't really concern me at this stage in my career. The only thing I am interested in is if you share this with people who do have sway, who do have influence, and get them to check the astrology themselves. President Trump has Uranus in his natal chart in the sign of Gemini. It basically transited and hit his Uranus. He had a Uranus return in July 2025, which is like big explosions. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Aquarius is about humanity, awareness, raising awareness, etc., etc. Now, it trined Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is about revolution and change. It's also about exposing people who are not using power as a force for good. Aquarius, when it's working well, that is. Now, so it moves back in, Uranus moves back into the sign of Gemini in April 2026. We have to hold things steady until then. From January 21st, I believe this is when the new year really begins, because everything moves into the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is about rising up. It's about compassion. It's about humanity. It's about all those wonderful things gone right. Gone wrong, it's about fanaticism. Let's make sure that we work with all of the gone right traits. And then in February, the new year really begins. We move into the fire horse. So we're ruled in 2026 by fire and air, and that can go well depending on how we use it, or how we use our collective power. In February, we move into the Chinese and Tibetan New Year, the fire horse, and Saturn also moves into the sign of Aries, and Aries is powerful, it's courageous, and it's also action orientated. So we are in for an action-packed year. I hope that's interested you, and I do hope that you have a good 2026. Remember to raise those vibrations. Take care.